Good afternoon, students. I think yesterday we saw the last part of the lesson, resources and development, and I told you today there will be a general topic related with resources and development, forest and wildlife, water resources also, which is the third chapter of your geography. Both forest and wildlife and water resources to be assessed only for internal assessment. So I thought as I was going through some of the articles, I came across one article, Conservation, Human Values and Democracy, written by Valiant Rome, which is the, apt topic for today's apt topic in connection with your lesson, all the three lessons, and connecting all those three topics to the present scenario. So we know I told you yesterday, it's human activities which are highly inhuman in nature. So human activities, it has resulted in changing the climate, depletion of biodiversity, destroying the habitats, biodiversity and flora, fauna, vegetation, everything. Destroying habitats, here it is, there is the forests which serve as the home for wild animals. Poisoning the earth, water and air. Otherwise you call it as the land pollution, water pollution and the air pollution. And we fully know that it's an accepted and universal fact that these natural resources are not inexhaustible. They are limited, and so this should be sustained. It should be sustainable. Yesterday itself, I think when I was taking the class, I told you what is sustainable development. But today, what we see is human civilization is on an unsustainable path. They don't think of anybody, whether it should be served for the future generation, whether they should have compassion, nothing. It is on unsustainable path. And the human beings, they continue to degrade the biosphere, deplete the natural resources at an unprecedented rate. And why are they doing it? They have their own reasons, which are several in number. The first one is the dominant economic model based on continuous growth. That is, they want to develop an economy. It should have a continuous growth. That means only progress. And so for that, there should be a destruction of biodiversity. They should deplete the natural resources, not limit in a limited manner, but in an without any limits. People are reluctant to change their lifestyles, so they are exploiting all these to suit their lifestyle. So they don't want to change their way of living. Then you have the impact of environmental problems, environmental issues, its impact on our daily lives. You know today what we are seeing. There is unemployment, there is poverty, economy has completely gone, education is halted. So when there is an impact of environmental issues, all these are the consequences we face. But all of us know what the consequences would be, but we dislike the consequences. And nobody is willing to make necessary sacrifices to address the dire issues. You know, it is just like something, it is a big, it is a big injustice, it is a big wrong. But none of us are ready to say no to the wrong done. Here also, all of us do not want to hear anything negative, the consequences, the grave consequences we dislike. And we are not ready to take any measures, or and if you want measures to be implemented, you have to sacrifice. We are not ready for such sacrifices. So obviously a legitimate question comes to your mind, or say when a person who is writing it should have come to his mind. Do we care about the future of our species? Obviously, when you, after a small, say when I had started this discussion, the conclusion is an emphatic that we do not care for the future of our species. If we are talking about the American country, that is North America, and the other West European nations, there's a big demand or increasing demand for energy and proliferation of environmental harmful habitats. So they feel, because there is demand for energy, and you know what is this nuclear proliferation and all. Proliferation of environmental harmful habits. So the need for energy, despite our knowledge of the damage we are doing. So we are running for that, there is nuclear wars, producing more and more nuclear weapons, unmindful of the fact that we know that we are damaging not the whole, what you call as the world. We are in the process of destroying the whole world. Now, talking about the other nations elsewhere, where, that is the Asian and South American countries. They are all rapidly growing countries, and they are also repeating the same mistakes that have been committed, or that are being, not have been, that are still being committed by the Western nations, disregarding the environment in their pursuit of happiness, material pleasures. They have not thought about the other side, only material pleasures. But there are many tools which can bring down the environmental decline. What are those tools? Awareness. You should be aware about the consequences. It is not enough if you are aware. You should have a free will to take some steps, to first chalk out some measures. Then you should have the determination to implement them. Innovate new methods of, like you say, not to dispose plastics, recycle the used ones. So such innovative methods to stop a decline of the environment. But all these tools are with us, all these abilities are there in us, but are we ready to use these abilities to build a better future? The answer is a big no. Till date, we have only exploited the environment, the natural resources, for what? To prolong our lives, to prolong our lifespan, to improve our lifestyle, to become richer, to become more powerful, to occupy the highest position, that is in the rung of the ladder at the global level, to assemble ourselves into groups, form groups and societies. For all these things, till date, we have been exploiting the environment only for these purposes. And the greatest irony is that the major industrialized countries are democracies, but they follow capitalism with regard to exploitation of environment. So what is the reason that we lack an efficient global conservation policy? The main reason is The political sectors, they are attached, once again as I told you, the same, they are only thinking of, or they are obsessed with the dominant model of continuous economic growth. So they should set an example, or they should be a model for a continuous economic growth. So they are obsessed with that. They have only that thought. So there are, even if there are policies which can prevent global, what is called as the change in the climate, we are not ready to do because of this. We can cite a number of facts, hard truths with regard to this particular topic, conservatism. So dear children, total neglect in implementing measures to conserve nature. That's a total neglect. Global competition. At the global level, there is competition for power, for money, for position, and whatnot. And at our own level, we are competing, we are vying, we are running in a race. The parents, teachers, students, the society, to score marks, to come first in the school exam, to come first in the entrance exam, which college have you got admission, when is your counseling, teachers talking about their performance index, about the remedial classes, about the substitution classes. We have time only for that. We are tuned to that because we are living in a hypocritical society, having no thought of conserving the nature. Today, if we are in this, all the exams, you mean there is many exams are halted, complete slowdown in the economic growth, unemployment. After this, you should see the consequences. There's going to be a heavy unemployment. When it will recover at the global level, we do not know. So what is the reason for all this? And that has come today in the form of the COVID-19, the invisible. We have inflicted pain to nature much beyond than that she can bear, and she has started retaliating, and it has reached the level of unprecedented loss of human lives, loss in all walks of life. So, present day, when we are in a race, as I told you, parents also want their children to come first, only marks. What marks did you get? Who got first? What is your position? This is the only thing we have to talk. Little did we realize that nature will inflict such a big pain on us, as I told you, in the form of SARS-CoV-2. So COVID-19, I think it should have by now taught us a big lesson. Our neglected traditions, love, respect, care, share, empathy, sympathy, compassion. All these things, see, this lesson, resources and development, and the subsequent two lessons are only concerned with natural resources. I think if I don't tell this, if I don't discuss, or it should be what I say, it is in the form of an explanation. If I don't do this, I will be failing my duty as a teacher without giving you the most important aspect of the chapter. And today's article in Hindu, the open page, page 7, harmonizing with nature. So that is, let us become peaceful. Let us be happy with nature. Let us make peace with nature. The article is written by B. Sumantran, and here he says, if you have to have a harmonious relation with nature, we need to shed some of the chutzpah. That chutzpah means audacity, that adamant nature, arrogant nature, which we have been having all these days to acquire achievements in science and technology. So unless we sacrifice that attitude of ours, arrogant attitude, adamant attitude, no sympathy, no compassion, we cannot achieve, we cannot have a harmonious relation with nature. So the last paragraph, very beautiful, especially with regard to, he's talking about the greatness of India and how we as Indians can establish a very harmonious relation with nature. In all of this, he says, nature seems to expect of us. So what does nature expect from us? A certain economy of consumption. So consumption should be economic, should be not being what you call as what you need you consume, but not exploit. And gentleness of impact. So when there is an economy of consumption, obviously the impact will be gentle and not cruel. A human society that is sympathetic to and in harmony with our environment, and where humans listen to and nurture their selves, may be an enduring recipe for a safer nature. Yes. If the nature should be safe, only if the nature is safe, we are safe. So if the nature has to be safe, the human society, it has to be sympathetic and in harmony with our environment. And this is the place, the environment, where humans listen to and nurture yourself. So environment, when you are in harmony with nature, you will nurture yourselves, and that must be the best recipe for a safer future. India has a long heritage of nurturing one's inner self. You know, Indians, you say that spirituality, you realize your own inner self, not the external inner self. I'm not going to the depth of it because you are too young to know inner self. So how do yoga and meditation have been adopted globally as exercises for a more robust constitution. See, yoga and meditation is not, it is even your age. They start doing yoga and meditation, at the age of 7 itself they start. So 15, 16 plus is not, this is the right time for you to start. So here, the Indian heritage, which is known for yoga and meditation, have been adopted globally. So today the whole world is accepting yoga, meditation, how you can develop immunity and have a what you call as control over your lungs. Practice yoga and meditation, which the Indians have been doing from, that is traditionally. So India also has a long tradition of dealing with earth as our mother. So for us, we say Bhumata, Bhuma Devi, Mother Earth. And that mother, she's so patient. That's why, when we say be as patient, perseverant, endurance, how much Mother Earth has, we should have. We have done atrocities after atrocities we have done to her. She's unable to bear, and that is why we are all facing today this great situation. So these can be timeless lessons. That is timeless, it is not just for this time. Timeless lessons as human society needs closer harmony with nature to take us on a safer trajectory in a post-COVID world. In a safe trajectory, in a safe path. After COVID, you will have the post-COVID world. What we should do, the most important solution, the only solution is be harmonious with nature.